All right, Colin, you already started to tell us something about this, but like, I
Yeah.
mean, you've already alluded to the fact that this is not one of the ones everybody knows. Like, I guess we're wondering what makes it stand out
Mhm.
amongst a sea of parody hits.
It's funny, it's catchy. I think it's a nice little song. I love the song just musically. I like listening to it.
Yeah.
But I think that
Mhm.
it's really rich lyrically. I mean, it just tells this ridiculous story of this guy who's got vacation coming up, and so he asks his kids where they want to go, and they can't think of anywhere else they'd rather go to than the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota, which I love that idea. So you walk down, talk to the wife and kids, and you say, well, we can go anywhere for vacation. And they say, the twine ball in Minnesota. That's just how Weird Al's mind works, is the sort of zany Americana whimsicalness of it. Um, and then just the story of this road trip, the soda, the diet chocolate soda that he drinks, which is that even a real thing? What is that? And getting his camera stolen and the kids singing songs in the car, and then they get to the twine ball, and he says, you better not touch it. Those ropes are there for a reason, which I think is a great line. And then having an emotional breakdown, a philosophical emotional breakdown at the
Yeah.
majesty of the twine ball, which I think is actually like a profound statement about
Yeah.
one of the things that's great about America is like the history of the culture of ridiculousness and crazy things that people do, and why we ask on this track, would this guy put together this twine ball? And maybe it just seemed like a good idea at the time, but there's a profoundness. It's like this character is encountering Mount Everest or something,
Mhm.
and but it's a little makeshift shack with a big ball of twine in it.
Yeah.
You know why Weird Al works? Because so many of the songs, like you said, it's a story. Like so many of the songs
A brilliant one.
that he's created are either like narrative stories or they are such vivid descriptions of
Mhm.
characters who are in scenarios, even if there's not like a plot as part of the song. It's just he just paints such vivid pictures that are often ridiculous, that are often like kind of mundane, but because of that, he's just a really good storyteller overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he has an almost Bob Dylan-esque voice. Like there's something that's Dylan-esque about the fact that like it's not a good voice
Okay,
necessarily,
I was wondering where
but
you were
it's
going with this.
so distinctive. Like you can identify a Weird Al song just by the tone of his voice, the timbre that he brings to his vocal parts. And I think that's another indicator of a pretty special, exceptional artist, probably.
Mhm.
I was gonna say there's almost something annoying about it. Like there's
Yeah,
that's
of
not
course it
almost,
is.
people are annoyed by him. And there's something about that that's so appealing to me. The character in the song is annoying, the twine ball is
Yeah.
annoying, everything happening in it is annoying, and Weird Al's voice is annoying, and like accordions are annoying, and polka music is annoying. But he's saying, this is what I'm good at and this is what I like, and he's
Right.
just being abashedly in your face about it, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
Dude, and 3 hours of music, and okay, well, here goes your hot take, right? But it puts him in the echelon of Prince. Like it puts him in the echelon of Prince of somebody whose volume, who I'm gonna say it, here it comes, his body of work that is so vast. He's in the vanishingly small percentage of people in the world who do such great work for so long.
And I mean, this box set is the first 10 years of his career,
Right.
which is like 25% of his career.
Yeah.
And something we've been kind of dancing around in this, which is he's had a massive resurgence in the last 10 years. And in some
Yeah.
ways, I think is many times bigger now than he ever was uh, before. I think
What do
that
you credit
there,
that to?
I think there was like a phase of like the early internet and like YouTube that like he kind of receded a little bit because everyone was making parodies, everyone was doing silly things on the internet, very much inspired by him, like walking on ground that I think he helped trod. But um at some point I think that like it's maybe like our generation, like Weird Al fans like me reached a level of adulthood, and like it's this is a hot take of like the New York Times would talk about, but like people in our millennials being like very interested in like culture and Harry Potter and like staying fans of the things they were fans of when they were
Fandom.
kids.
Yeah.
That's really like, but spending money on it as adults. I think
Right.
he's just sustained like that core group of fans, and then has spun that into like super successful touring and continued releases that even amidst a culture where now anytime he releases a parody of a song, that song's been parodied 10,000 times already on YouTube.
Right.
There's like a respect for him, and he holds such a place in American culture that like the room kind of clears for Weird Al and people sort of listen. Um, and I think the movie that you guys mentioned, the fake
Yeah.
biopic, and
Yeah.
like like
I didn't
Hamilton,
see it.
I think is part of his resurgence, because Lin-Manuel Miranda is like a huge Weird Al fan, and then Weird Al did like a polka
Yeah.
Hamilton songs, and like he
Mhm.
just has figured out a way to sort of fit into contemporary pop culture in a way that really resonates. And I suspect a big part of that is that the demographics of like people who are spending money on those concert tickets are just people like me who grew up on his music and are unashamed to like be adult Weird Al fans.
Yeah. That's okay. It's a question that has many facets to it, but are you the typical Weird Al fan?
If you go to a Weird Al concert, I think I'm actually less nerdy than the typical Weird Al fan.
Okay.
It's like
Gotcha.
people who go to Comic-Con and people who are like hardcore Star
Yeah.
Wars, people who like have Star Wars cosplay costumes. That's like the typical Weird Al fan.
Gotcha.
At least if
Yeah.
you take the concert attendee.
Somebody who's going
I
to spend money on it and go like take time out of their life to go see a Weird Al concert.
definitely spans all ages. And when I've been to, I don't know, 6 or 7 Weird Al concerts, and there are young people and there are old people. And I would probably, it's a lot of like 12-year-olds with their 40-year-old dad, or like,
Yeah.
50-year-old, 40 and 50-year-olds, and then like 12-year-olds. And then of course, like I think a decent, real strong showing of millennials.
Dude, that's so interesting. Because sometimes you can never know. You can never know what the true demographics of a like a band's support is. Like when I go to Wilco concerts and I know I'm like a typical idea of what a certain kind of Wilco guy is. Like I know that to be true about myself. But like also there's a wide variety of people at Wilco concerts. It attracts all sorts. People you'd never expect. You're like, you like this song? You like this album? You know? Like you're going out to see them in Chesterfield at the Factory, which if you're in St. Louis, you should go see a show in that room because it's kind of a remarkable room, but getting there and getting out is just terrible. It's no kind of life. But anyway, I digress. There was a moment in time when I really like in middle school when I got kind of into him, and my cousin said to me at that time, she was like, "Oh, don't be one of those guys." And so there is, and I won't say which cousin it is to save her identity, but I love you. But there, like there's that stuck with me about wanting to listen to Straight Outta Linwood, and I like put it on my Christmas list or something like that. And she was like, "Oh God, Tyler, don't be one of those guys." And I was like, "What do you mean those guys?" Like I didn't get it at the time, but I think that I feel vindicated a little bit by what he's continued to do and the
I
influence he's continued to have.
I think his career has tracked like an interesting phenomena in culture, which is like being normie, like is less in vogue and has
Yeah,
become less in vogue over time. And like that's a little bit what's remarkable, is that like Weird Al was like recording My Bologna in a bathroom on his accordion when it was I kind of legitimately subversive to like
yeah,
be doing something that weird. And and his career somehow survived long enough that like now everyone, like it's the norm to like be going on
yeah.
TikTok and being a content creator and be doing abnormal stuff, and people don't look at you weird
It's
anymore. And
true.
so I suspect nowadays, there's 12-year-olds who are asking for Weird Al stuff, and that's like accepted, like not that it was ever not accepted, but like I definitely think that, yeah,
It's
like when
understood.
we were in grade school, it's like Weird Al's a little nerdy, a little fringe, a little like, oh, that's kind of annoying. Nowadays it's like he's it's just become so like acceptable in culture now to be into different things and hyper into things, which is, I think, one definition of nerdy, just like hyperly passionate about stuff. That like he can be mainstream in a way that he couldn't have been a long time ago.
Right.
And what's interesting is how much or how little he has actually influenced that cultural shift.
Right.
You know,
he's sort of a product of the monoculture, and so now like there's
Yeah.
it's almost like there's like this nostalgia for back when someone could cover songs that everybody knew, and that's part of what made it so relatable, is because
Right.
everyone had heard that song, and
It's a
so
really good point.
they knew that they would have recognized the, like, you know, clever or ridiculous take he was making on it, because we all knew the song. And now, you know, there's like a few songs every once in a while, like pop wise, that like everybody knows, but I don't know. We were just watching clips from the most recent episode of SNL, which is not the one that's happening whenever you're listening to this episode, your listeners, but
Was the one
like,
with Sabrina Carpenter? That one?
yes, yeah,
I
and
didn't watch
like,
it.
you know, yeah, well, no, hot take, SNL is terrible this season, but anyway,
Oh man.
it's just, you can tell. Anyway, it's a different
it's like
podcast,
an
but
ever-present, bro.
well,
Everyone's
no,
always
but now it's different. Like now they've jumped the shark.
Oh no.
No, but it's they're doing that thing, that sketch they do where it's the couple and the wife cheated on him, and they keep like at weddings and whatever. What's his name? Yeah, Domingo. Yeah,
Domingo. Yeah.
and like they were singing, you know, like a parody version of some song, and I was sort of like, you know, Matthew and I were both kind of like, well, I don't know what song this is. I don't know what song
Yeah.
they're parodying right now, and
Right.
that's, I'm sure it's well known. It's just we don't know it.
Right. Right. Because what was it? It was Espresso, right? It was the original.
Way back, like, yeah, the original sketch,
Okay.
but this one I have no idea what
Yeah.
song they were parodying.
It feels, it's a little sad, I think. There's definitely a sadness to that kind of thing. It's like, it's nice to have shared that, being able to do water cooler talk like that. You can sometimes if you get lucky and are watching the same thing as somebody, but it doesn't happen as often, I would say.
Yeah.
I knew that you were stacking the deck of the albums that you chose to check certain boxes for me about you. You know, so like I sensed that was happening, and it's not wrong. You know, you weren't wrong to do that. It made me think, okay, so what are you, when you're going about this process and curating a list of 4 albums that you would believe are perfect, what are the things that you keep coming back to? What are the standards that you use that make you think, okay, I'm going to put that one in that bucket, in that perfect bucket?
Yeah, I think for me, it was purely emotional. It's like, do I have an emotional connection to this album? Because I think with almost any art, there's a good argument that it's not perfect, and I don't know that perfect is all that interesting to me in terms of like, yeah, this album, there's skippable tracks, guys, and I know that's one of the
we'll allow it for a 3-hour long album.
premises of your show, that there's no skippable tracks or whatever. But guys, there's some songs that a reasonable person could be forgiven for skipping. And like, as I was listening in preparation for this, I was like, I don't know that I've ever listened to generic blues all the way through, but I'm gonna do it for this podcast. It's more like, oh man, there's 5 or 6 songs on this album that I probably listened to 500 times each, and that I was listening to as a kid on road trips, and I would listen to in college when I was sad, and I would listen to, you know, when it's summer and you roll down the windows in the car, and just like different feelings and different emotions, and it's just remained always a rich source of like joy emotionally. Less so, at least with the albums that I submitted, because I was really more interested in some of these things that just have like a place in my heart and are not necessarily like Pitchfork 10 out of 10 album.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've acknowledged the technical part of it too a little bit, but you know, Weird Al's also well regarded technically, and you can hear in these songs that they're very tight and they're very clean.
Yeah.
Talked about in his creative process how much he kind of agonizes over his lyrics, and he'll have 5 or 6 different options for every single line. And that's an interesting idea to me, because a lot of times, you know, in my own creative stuff with the Christmas Party, I've made some parody stuff, and like oftentimes the instinct is like the first time you hit something that feels like it resonates, you just move on, and you that's funny, so I'm sticking with it. But I like to think of Weird Al sitting down and like coming up with 5 different versions of all of these lines and like
Yeah.
really getting into the meter or the reference or the like what can he fit into it. So there's definitely like um if not perfection, there's like a very technical proficiency to all of
Yeah.
this. And he's a master of his craft. And he's got a very good band that's been with him from the very beginning,
Yes.
with kind of these studio musicians that he's been with forever who are super tight. And so, you know, if you want to talk about the technical component of perfection, I think there is, with almost any professionally released music, you're going to be listening to really excellently created stuff. But Weird Al's no exception to that and is kind of a standard bearer of like the quality of the musicianship and the lyricism and even his singing.
So you said you've seen him 6 or 7 times. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I've maybe lost count, but I've seen him a lot.
Damn. Have you ever seen him, Michael?
I am not. I know a lot of people who saw him on this most recent tour,
Yeah.
and said he's still got it. Like he's still
The
just
last thing the most
firing on all
recent.
cylinders.
Yeah, yeah.
He was also for a while performing with the Pixies. He would like go on stage when they're on tour and he would like do a song with them, which is also just really cool.
That scans though for me for some
Yeah,
reason.
I like that. He's also one of those people that strikes me as like the celebrities that I've seen in my life. Sometimes you're like, oh, that person doesn't have huge presence in this room, But then I bet Weird Al is somebody with a huge presence. Like you were saying, he takes over a room when he walks into it. I bet that's such a huge part about what he is that he's just like driven forward and so charismatic.
And he also just want to point out before kind of we're reaching the end of our time together here, but I just want to acknowledge the fact that I believe he might be the only Grammy winning musical artist I know who has made songs regularly, especially towards the beginning of his career, where the percussion is provided via fart sounds. I didn't
Yeah,
realize
they're
how
made
much
from
farting.
sounds. I
Yeah.
can't do it, but it's with his hands.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize how much, because like towards the beginning of the box set, like a lot of those songs, it's all fart percussion.
And you know what? I respect that.
Yeah.
I
Oh
really
no,
do.
that's not a dig.
I
That's
really
a
respect that.
that's a send up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael, we've heard the case that Colin has made.
Mhm.
Don't you think that it might be time for the
Deliberation
phase? That wasn't bad.
That wasn't bad.
That wasn't
Yeah.
bad. Deliberation phase. And then sound effect. And okay. Do you want to go? You want to go first or me?
I'll go first. Well, I mean, honestly, like I feel like I can talking about Weird Al, I mean, look at this room we're in, this virtual room that we're in here, like a bunch of nerds all talking together here. As someone, I'm not nearly as knowledgeable, and I wasn't nearly as knowledgeable about Weird Al as someone else in my life, who shall remain nameless, but and who would have loved to maybe talk about a Weird Al episode at some point,
Oh,
except he
really?
does
Okay.
except he doesn't want to be on the podcast, but I think he kind of secretly does. But anyway,
Interesting.
I'm not saying who it is, but
Dear listener.
but the fact that like when you were talking about how like this may have been like one of the first albums you ever owned, and the idea that like Weird Al is the gateway to lots of other music, lots of other pop culture, lots of other history for you, that I mean that's a huge selling point, because you would never think that something like this that seems so silly, like I mean it gets sort of put in the category of novelty songs, which by the way there's a great podcast, Chris Molanphy's Hit Parade did a whole like 2-part thing on novelty songs, and basically the whole first part was about just novelty songs in general, and the whole second part of the episode was just Weird Al, because like because
Right.
because
There's just so much to talk about.
well, yeah, because they were always just like one-hit wonders, and then Weird Al came along and like made it a thing and just did it so much better than everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't know, the fact that like this seemingly silly thing that people make fun of, that people laugh at, could also be something that brings a great deal of joy and I don't know, just like I don't know, makes people feel like okay to be who they are,
Yeah.
and that sounds kind of cheesy, but no, I actually do kind of mean it, that there's
Yeah.
something like wholesome and honest and truthful about what he does, and the fact that that may have been one of your first great music loves,
Yeah.
that's that does it for me. What about you, Tyler?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it just makes sense. It just makes sense that he's got that wholeheartedness that I was talking about. He's something very necessary, to kind of have a personality that people can latch on to like that. So I think he's such a I'm so glad that he exists personally. So guess how I feel about Weird Al. Those beats that you were talking about of like how you got the album and how you listened to it. It was such a tactile experience of listening to it with all these different formats and you putting it in the CD player and flipping the disc. Like that was such a that was good. The core of the argument that you made about being something that made you feel something that was provoked an emotional reaction in you. That's as good an argument as I've heard for an album's perfection. I think this case is pretty cut and dry, Your Honor. Should you put it to me or should I put it to you, Michael?
You can put it to me this time.
Okay, Michael, you've heard the
Yeah.
case that Colin has made.
Uh-huh.
He's acquitted himself well before the tribunal, I would say. Can you tell us, has he done enough? Will Weird Al Yankovic's permanent record, Al in the Box, be allowed entry into the This One Goes to 11 pantheon? Does it go to 11?
I do believe it does. And I sure wish I could have come up with like a parody, like some sort of clever, like dad jokey sort of thing to say, but I just,
Yeah.
I'm spent from listening to the 49 tracks.
3 hours, dude. 3 hours.
It's a lot. And I'm sure everyone listening did the full homework before they started the podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
Tired.
They're very astute, our listeners, I would say. We don't have many listeners, but we have an astute fun, is what I would say about them. So we should call out a few music memories from Colin just to end our episode. I think Colin and I musically go so far back because we went to Lollapalooza 2011 together, which was a hell of a year. We saw Muse. Who else did we see that year?
Muse. I remember we saw Reptar.
We saw Muse, we saw Reptar, we saw Foo Fighters, we saw Damian Marley and Nas, we saw Cage the Elephant, that was a good year. That was a really, really good year.
Yeah, it was recently when I went to see Oasis at Soldiers Field in Chicago, just recently.
You did do that.
Cage the Elephant opened, and they talked about that show. They were like, who here? That was like a big moment for us. When we played Lollapalooza 2011, and it started raining during the set. Raise your hand if you were at that show. And I raised my hand, and they were like, "Thank you, Colin O'Brien. You're better."
They said, "You're a real one, Colin." That's what they said.
Well, it's good you got some affirmation from them because you sure as hell weren't going to get it from the Gallaghers.
Yeah, no.
It's true. Okay, so you're the mayor of Christmas. You're planning this year's Christmas show. Tell the listeners what you want them to know about you. Should they keep their eye on Blank Slate? Should they keep their eye on the Christmas show? What's the core of what Colin O'Brien is doing right now?
I don't have a plug.
I'm asking for a plug, bro.
If you're in St. Louis on December 18th of this year, you'll be invited to me and AJ, our mutual friend from geometry class, AJ Lane. We throw a Christmas party every year where we usually take some famous movie and we overdub it, we rewrite it, we re-edit it so it's about Christmas, and we like superimpose Christmas trees and stuff into it. We very meticulously spend the whole year doing this, and so we'll be having the newest entry into our catalog, which is yet to be announced. But last year we did Superbad, we did The Shining, we did 2001: A Space Odyssey,
Shining,
and we've got one next year coming. That's a big one. It's a doozy. So if you're in St. Louis on December 18th, drop Tyler a line, and you're invited to the Christmas party.
Seriously, do it. Come with, like, if you're listening to this and you want to come to the Christmas party.
Out here, but Tyler and I are roommates, and you can crash on the couch here if you drop Tyler and me a line on December 18th.
It's a very cozy place. It's a very cozy place that you live, and that we live, and come on through. We'd love to have you for the Christmas party. Michael, you and Matthew come to St. Louis. Come to St. Louis for Christmas.
I'll probably be grading papers, unfortunately, at that point.
That's true. Okay.
I guess
Anybody
I could bring them with me. I could bring
Yes.
I could hand them out to people at the party, and they could
Yes.
I could just be like later in the evening. Yeah.
Colin is Colin is a hell of a party planner. Let me tell you.
I believe that. I
Yeah.
believe that from the limited amount that I know of you, Colin. I feel like that I can sense it.
Yeah. And then I will also say that Colin made mention of this in jest to me earlier, but the last time that you two were around each other was at one of our formative experiences, Michael, was Homo Andronicus in 2015.
Oh wow.
Because Colin saw that.
I'm still having PTSD from that.
Dude. As an audience member.
Yeah.
That was a
really fun.
It was just there was intense subject matter in the show.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah. That was maybe the epitome of like an Osinski joint in the sense of it's like Trent Reznor at a PTA meeting. Like that's my aesthetic.
Yeah, so. You need to write that down.
I've written it down. And also before we progress, I just have to say, my inner dad, you both have mentioned geometry twice now, and I've been just dying to respond to whatever sentence you say with prove it after that, and I haven't been able to, so I'm going to ruin the joke by telling you what I wanted to make as the joke. So and that makes me the most dad
we were not
ever.
very good at geometry, I will say. We had to build a water park out of a shoebox and tongue depressors at some point, and that was an ill-fated venture.
How was that geometry?
Trust me, I don't know either. We'll also the teacher who taught that class will remain nameless, but bless her, I do not remember much geometry.
Yeah, who cares? You don't need it. You don't need geometry to go on and do podcasts and stuff. You know,
that's true.
Weird Al made it that way. We don't have to learn geometry anymore because of Weird Al.
That's true.
Now that's it. That's the end of the podcast. That's like
I think
nothing.
It is.
Everything we said before that, trash.
Right. We're good. Well, then I guess thank you, Colin. This has been a really good, for real. This has been a really good, good time having you on here. You're a well-spoken man. You're one of my best good buddies in the world, and thank you very much for coming on, dude.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
I guess they should listen. The people should follow us on socials, any of the socials that we're still on. I think we should say that we are coming up on the holidays, and so we will slow down a little bit, but we have at least one more episode that we're going to do for you.
A little special episode, year-end thing going on.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us for another year. It's been very real, and
you're gonna want to tune in for our next season. We have something very special planned for our 10th season. We're not gonna. Maybe if you listen to the year-end episode, we'll drop some clues in there somewhere.
That's exactly what we'll do.
So yeah.
But, well, then I guess all that there is left to say is bye.